long should I count the years? So far, baby, it's so near. So far, baby, it's so dear.
Yeah.
So far, but I need you here. Yeah.
It's the podcast with DjMambo the King.
Yeah. What's happening, party people? What's cracking? What's sexy? What's juicy, guys? Chiku fire. What's happening? Guys, I know you've been waiting for this podcast. It's been a longly awaited to have Ammara Brown here on the podcast at the University of Zimbabwe. And I'm proud to have her, guys. And this show is proudly brought to you by Ghost Mudaki, the one who's supplying all the stratons, all the alcohol around everywhere in Zim. You know the person, guys. Get in contact with him. And yeah, we got Ammara Brown, my beautiful sister. Wana Rupisa in Zimbabwe, in the streets, everywhere, man. She is rocking mainstream.
Bless you, man. Bless you.
It's really nice to have you here, man, for real.
It's nice to be here, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, because what happens with mainstream celebs is yeah. You guys
Busy, man.
Yeah,
busy.
so
Yeah, I hear
it's really,
you.
it's really an honor to have you around here.
Thank
so,
you, man.
These friends, they want to know about Ammara Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get personal with Ammara Brown.
A little bit.
A little bit. So yeah, who is Ammara Brown? You know, want to know about your background, you know, the upbringing of Ammara Brown. Who is she? Yeah.
Oh, wow. My upbringing was different. It was very different in its nature. I grew up with a lot of music around me.
Yeah.
From the time I was like a baby, honestly.
Yeah.
Until probably the age of 4, I started singing like more consistently and stuff.
Yeah.
My mother was a realtor. She became a realtor, but she was my 1000% all day, every day cheerleader. I believe in you. I believe in your star power. You can do whatever it is you wanted to do, you know. So I must have been like 12 or something when I ran home and we were staying in the States, and I was like, Mom, I got the solo. And she's like, oh, that's amazing. And I was just like, no, but that's not everything. I want to be a singer. And I never forget that day because I remember feeling so free. It was the one time where I felt like I was limitless in my capacity to be free. And so I was really grateful towards her. And around the time I was maybe like 13 or something, my dad got to hear my first demo because he was still in Zimbabwe. My mom was obviously like, get into studio, let's do this, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? She had been with my dad. She was married to my dad from the 80s into the 90s. So for her, it made sense. Like, as long as you're passionate about it, I'm here for you. You know what I mean? And I don't think I would have been where I am today without parents who believed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 100%. My dad cried. I remember him on the phone actually crying. He's like, I'm so proud. And I was like, it's not that great. Like, you know, I was over-analyzing myself and criticizing myself because you want to be perfect. We all want to be perfect. And when you hear yourself for the first time, do you remember your first time hearing yourself?
Yeah, for real.
It's like, crazy, right? Yeah, exactly.
I remember even my first song, I think I first recorded it back in 2014 back then. But when I play it today, I'll be like, no, man, this is me. This is trash. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, but your parents will be like,
Exactly. You're over-obsessed, you know. But I was really lucky in that way. They both heard the potential that I had and they could see the passion that I had. And so I remember being about 14, I came back to Zimbabwe, which was really crazy in many different ways. You're in the States, you know, you're taught that you're black, you come home and they're like, you're not black. And you're like, clutches pearls. What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah.
Exactly, you know, and it was all very confusing. But I mean, it's part of the process and part of just understanding where we were as a society and where we are as a people, you know what I mean? And my dad was still behind the mic, still on stage. And so I remember, man, he was on fire. And I was like, Daddy, I need money for toiletries. He's just like, okay, here's money, but you're going to come to work now because if you want money, you got to work for it. And I was like, okay. So I've been working from the time I was 14 years old, like consistently. You know, my mother had already done the family woman thing. I had my sibling and my little cousin that were babies, and I would be vacuuming the house and cooking and cleaning and doing my homework. And so she had already created the future home wife person and cooking and all of that. That was now set aside. My dad was now like boot camp.
Wow.
you know, let's get on the stages. So I got over the bar and being in the clubs at a very young age because I was at work. Like, I wasn't there to turn up or anything.
You're
you
at
know,
work.
I was at work.
Yeah.
You know, get on stage 8 p.m. You finish at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're tired. People are like, one more, and you're just like, yo, guys.
I'm tired, man. I can't do this
But
anymore.
nobody cares. You know, my dad's hand would get tired and sore. And,
Yeah,
you
for
know, I
real.
just saw him work through all of that. And so the boot camp aesthetic really came from two parents who were just about creating this machine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was blessed in that way, man. Yeah.
Man, I can hear the accent, man. The same accent in you, man. For
I
real.
actually toned it down so much.
Yes.
Can I tell you, I used to sound a lot like this. Like, I would be like, hey, DjMambo, how you doing?
Yeah,
Like, that was, you know, I got used to, it's not that my Zimbabwean accent had gone away, but in America, when you speak like this, they can't understand what you're saying.
For real.
So in a week, I had to learn, like, real quick. Like, I got to talk like this so that you understand, so you can comprehend a lot quicker with the way that I'm saying. And they speak more so in the front of their mouths. And it really just helped in that respect because I got to sort of expand on the kind of personalities and accents that I would take on later on in life, because when I was 9, I was in adverts and things like that.
Yeah,
So
for
my
real.
acting was already expanding in that way. Yeah.
Talking about that, man. You know, how did your career now start? The professional career, how did it start? To say now we have someone called Ammara Brown, because I remember I was watching, because I had to do some background check.
Yeah.
I was watching these adverts back in the days
Yeah.
with the late legend Oliver Tuku
Yeah.
as well. You know,
Yeah.
how did it come about to say now we got Ammara Brown, a professional career is starting in music, not in acting, especially, but in music.
In music.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a process.
Yeah.
So, you know, I remember doing, like, I was 15, Music Crossroads, just still expanding. But I think when I was 18 now, I do remember I had worked on a demo. And my mom put in everything she had. I mean, she had been jobless for months.
Wow.
And she was just like, your demo's going to cost about 4,000 Rand. I knew her paycheck was 5,000 Rand. So her second paycheck came in and she just literally handed over the cash to this
Wow.
producer who we didn't know was going to screw us over
Damn.
and resell the demo, one of the songs on the demo. But to his own detriment, because regardless, we were looking for a record deal. And we were living in South Africa at that time. I just, you know, come out of high school, so to speak. And I remember getting that first record deal and just being like, oh my God, I made it. Like, you know, I remember my parents were just so proud that my first record deal was at that point. And I'm like, I'm 18, this is great. But like, something didn't feel right. And I didn't know how to tell them, because I felt bad almost that we've put in all these years and my mother sacrificed so much to get me to this point. Why doesn't it feel as great as I thought it would? And it was really only because they were gonna shelf me.
Demo.
So yeah, they
Why?
shelved me. They signed me because of the demo. They absolutely loved me.
Yeah.
So this was Gallo Records, South Africa.
Gallo.
Yeah, South Africa.
Okay.
Not Zimbabwe, like South Africa, international Gallo Records. And they signed me, but I didn't record one thing. And I remember about a year later, I was in college at the time. I was actually studying music. And I remember this moment where my mom called me and she says, we're canceling your contract. You're going to Idols.
Wow.
And I was like, what? I was so upset.
Wow.
I was so upset.
Wow.
I cried so much.
Yeah.
I felt like she had given up on me, you know, because the competitions are usually associated with people who don't know how to make a way. And I felt like, is she giving up on me with my actual record deal and telling me to cancel this thing to go take a risk? She was so right to do that. Might I add, you must listen to your mother. Shame.
And now I'm loving that South African accent as well.
You know, and that's really where it went bang for me, because I made it. I remember we drove to Botswana because we had missed the Zimbabwe auditions, and I made it into the top 100, made it to the top, 36, made it to the top 24, made it to the top 10.
Wow.
And got to perform in front of the continent week after week, and I was 19 years old, and it was in Kenya. And
it was already so traveling all over Africa.
Yeah, pretty much. It was very overwhelming, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was depressed. I remember actually being depressed. developed ulcers.
Wow.
Because my stress levels were so high. And I remember this one week, they were like, oh, well, she's not even black. What is she going to sing for African week? Like, cyberbullying has been there for a time, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think the day people start going to jail for it is the day people will probably pay attention and respect
that's true.
that people are still people, man. But at the time, it didn't matter. And I remember saying, God, please, can you give me 5 minutes? I couldn't even stand. I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
And I was just like, could you please just give me 5 minutes on the stage? I need to deliver this. And I performed Brenda Fassie's Vulindlela.
Wow.
And rocked that whole crowd. It was like 1,000+ people strong, man. And it was so amazing. It was my best performance of the whole season. And I think that would be, for me, just the epic turning point for me, because Kenyans thought I was Kenyan.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They thought I was Kenyan for quite some time, and I developed a basic sort of fan base for the first time, but I probably learned at that period that I'm a very private person, and I didn't know how to handle the public space. It was very overwhelming. But I was 19. I'd have to say that was probably the turning point.
Definitely. Now, let's come and talk about playing Bira and your father. Your father was a legend, the late. Now you and Bira music. It seems like your father played a part in you playing Bira music. How did that influence you in your music career in playing Bira? Because as we look at it, many parents out there, you know how they associate traditional music with Mashavi and so forth, right? They don't look at it as art in some form of our culture. They took it as a form of, that tradition that is backward. They don't want to put their kids to go to school and do those traditional dance stuff. But you in your family set up. You grew up playing Bira as well. How has that influenced your career?
I was 8 years old. I was probably 7, maybe, or 8 when I met Chioniso for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was just really drawn to the instrument. Nothing was ever forced on me. I think I was really lucky in that perspective because it was natural within the given space.
Yeah.
And my father was obviously very traditional in how he was raised. Like he lived and was raised in Berengwa, and the crossover for him was being probably 12 years old when the Chimurenga happened, and the colored children were supposed to be extracted from their households, and just the separation of cultural aspects. And my father really had a bit of a battle, I think, through his life, just trying to balance out all the facets that made sense to him, because when he was drunk, he couldn't speak English no more. He was done. He was done.
No way.
No. He was not even speaking English with you. You know what I'm saying? He'd actually go karanga, so already just the aesthetic of what it was in his natural home space created this aesthetic for me that was like, oh, this is normal. And so I would nag. I would be like, Chioniso, please can you teach me? Whoa. Please can you teach me? And then my dad was like, Chi, you better teach this child, because when she wants something,
she's a go-getter.
She's a go-getter.
Yeah.
And for my 9th birthday, they gifted me with my first mbira.
Wow, that's nice.
And I remember the first song I got to write was actually with Chioniso, which was absolutely incredible, man. And I got to perform it with her and my dad actually on guitar, and it was just transformative. It was more like family time to me and very organic. So this aesthetic that people have of denying themselves of what traditional music is so much more about a self-loathing, a planted self-loathing from long ago. They told us that we were uncivilized, but we didn't have street kids here.
That's true.
That's uncivilized.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? They say we were uncivilized, but every woman was honored and married, and her children were honored and taken care of. And if your mother passed away, your aunt was your mother, and you would never be left destitute.
That's true.
Do you get what I'm saying? There were so many things about us that were so beautiful that we were brainwashed into believing just doesn't count anymore because of modernization or whatever you want to call it. And really it was colonization, but not just of our space, not of the land, not just of that, but of here. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm still seeing the effects today. a simple thing like my hair.
Yeah.
I put up a post the other day about how my hair grew, and so many people were like, well, your hair grows because you're colored. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so crazy to me, because they don't know, like, being colored means that you're mixed.
Yeah, you're mixed.
That means that somebody can be dark with the thickest hair. They can be fair with the straightest hair, and all of them are mixed.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't guarantee that your hair is going to grow, because all hair grows. That's why men go for a haircut. If your hair didn't grow, you never, ever go for that haircut.
Yeah.
So you can't say that black people's hair doesn't grow. And so the narrative is the same when you look at Mbira and how they view that. It's just like, oh, you know, my grandmother from my maternal side was very old school, and she'd be like, don't play that Mbira at night. Just don't play it at night. Did I listen? Shem. No. I wasn't listening.
Now,
because I embraced it.
Now, the connection of Mbira and one other prominent artist in Zimbabwe. Now we're going to talk about your relationship with Jah Prayzah. This connection with him and Mbira as well. And you with Mbira. And now we get to hear a collab coming. Kure.
Yeah.
How did that collab come about? That song.
Kure was myself just conceptualizing a tribute to my dad. Right. So in my mind, I just envisioned an artist. I needed to find an artist who could deliver my father's music in a way that was powerful, in a way that was intricate, in a way that was his own way also. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a competition. Anyway, so my manager said to me, hey, have you checked out that guy, Jah Prayzah? And I was just like, you know, I think I've seen like some posters of this guy.
So he was just a guy at that time.
You know, he wasn't, I knew of him, but I hadn't listened. I didn't know yet. Do you get what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh, yeah, you know what? And she's just like, let me get a hold of him. And you go check out Wagwan and you tell me what it is. Anyway, and he was just like, oh yeah, no, you must come to the show. You guys must, you know. And I remember Jazz 105. Do you remember Jazz 105 in town by Eastgate? You may have been a little young.
Yeah,
it's okay.
For real, man. Nice. Cool, yeah.
But it was this place where you would typically find, like, you know, your township artists like rocking it, man, a live band, and you know, it was like $3 entry, and I was thinking, yo, how is he making money? Okay, let's go inside. And it was fire. Like, I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
I had no idea. He completely blew me away with his performance. And when he picked up his Mbira, finished. I was just like, that we're done. And, you know, I just had a good time. And I love live music. I love watching a live show. Shem, if there's any fan that ever stepped up to me while I was trying to watch somebody, I'm very sorry, but I'm really watching. Because it was such a good show. And so we landed up, you know, writing together. And he was just like, so what's the song about? And I was just like, you know what? I'm in a long distance relationship right now. And this is what I'm experiencing. So I feel like I really want to write about it. And so he played and I was playing and followed. And then I remember him going, and I said, kure, kure, kure. And that was... And that was it. And that was it. And that was it. From that point onwards, a beautiful song was created. We landed up by Mono Mkundu, and only later did we hear from fans saying, oh, that sounds like your dad's song Kure. And I was just like, oh, okay, all right. I was not paying attention, but it's fine. I'm here for that. That's okay, as long as they're enjoying the song. And it was so huge. I remember releasing the DVD. He had a DVD at the time with like 5 music videos. He's like, Ammara, I need a 6th music video. Please, can we put your video on the thing?
And you know how I got to know about that? Like you said, I was very young at that time. That song, I'm from Mutare, by the way. I'm from Mutare. That's where I come from.
Beautiful.
So, the times that I would travel to come to Harare or to go to my parents in SA, the buses, they play that song each and every time. And each and every bus that I'm in, and they play this video. And each and every time I listen to this, I was like, no, man. There seems to be a connection between, you know, the fusion of this Mbira artist and the song itself. It's something greater than what people actually can see. And that song was dope.
Thank you.
For real, man.
Thank you.
Now, let's come to some international collaborations and other collaborations as well. You've collaborated with Titan on Mukoko. And you've collaborated with Mr. Easy on Soto. Now, I want to understand, how is the collaboration different from a local artist and an international artist? How are the collaborations different? The reception from the fans is there.
I think the people just want good music
Yeah.
when it comes to local artists.
Yeah.
When it comes to international artists, they're a bit more judgmental.
Yeah. For real.
They're a bit more judgmental. So I think they sort of battle in terms of what they're experiencing intrinsically, because it's strange. They say they want to see you go international, but when you do, there's more pushback.
Yeah.
Actually,
They start
there's
lashing out.
Yeah, they start lashing out, and I'm just like, why are you so mad?
Yeah.
Like,
This is what you wanted.
you know what I'm saying? This is what you wanted. You guys got me here, you know. But it's okay. I think for me, more so what I learned out of, Amasha Ignite, because it was a very challenging period for me. I was trying to expand, through the SADC region. And my album sales were going like, whoa, through the roof. And, it was really beautiful in that way. But what I realized was that collaborating with an international artist or a local artist doesn't really matter. It's so much more about your experience in the studio and just making a good song. And that for me is something that became my new priority. Like, I don't want to do this out of strategy's sake. I'm sort of exhausted of this narrative already. If I'm going to work with an international artist, I'm going to work with somebody who him and I are just, or she and I are just going to have that natural, click, and never mind the rest. It doesn't have to matter, because Mr. Easy reached out to me.
For real?
Years
Yo,
back.
wow,
He
that's
reached out to
dope.
me on Twitter. He was like, I want to work with you. And he had I think I had 14,000 followers. He had 11,000 followers. And I was like, who this
guy?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who this guy? And I thought he was from Ghana, actually. But it turns out, he was a student in both places. So things that are organic, I think, are more important, so that when you sleep at night as the individual artist, you feel better about what you've done and how you've delivered it. And now I look at Shoto and it's got 1 million views. I'm like, okay,
That was dope.
okay, I like this video.
It's your baby.
It's my baby.
So now, let's come to international accolades. Afrima Awards.
Yeah.
The whole awards is starting, there are many. And the nominations as well, we can't count them,
Yeah.
But how is the experience and how is the feeling of being nominated as one of the most influential female artists in the region, in SADC, and also Africa as a whole? How is
It's
it?
really crazy. It's really crazy. I think, more so than not, it's more about the recognition that we see you.
Yeah.
Just that. Like, for me, I think what gave me peace a couple of years ago, it was so shocking to me when I heard from the Afrimas. I was like, am I? Do you? Because I, because, you work so hard, and, I've experienced so much craziness within the local awards ceremony industry. And, it kind of can get disheartening at some point, because you want the approval of, you've done well and you've nailed it. And I think after Achilles, I just sort of released. I was just like, you know what? Whatever's meant to be mine will be mine. Because I look back on my father's career and I realized he was never recognized for the monumentous contribution that he had in this arts industry. So what does it mean? Does it mean that one is better than the other when somebody wins? No, it doesn't mean that. So I think for me, it's just recognizing that people in the world are able to see me and appreciate what I do. That tells me that I'm doing my job right. On God. On God.
Talking about songs such as Achilles.
Yeah.
And there's this song, DjMambo.
Yeah.
And there's also My Protector.
Yeah.
These songs, they are more about you in domestic violence, gender-based violence. Why those areas? Why those areas?
It's so funny that you asked that, because somebody said to me the other day, can you sing something a little bit happier?
Something different.
You sound really sad in your songs. And I was just like, you know what, you guys? The reality of the matter is this. I can only sing about my truth.
Your experiences.
That's the reality. It's just like a lot of artists are pressed making music for what the people want to hear. But you'd be surprised. Yeah, I know. Jump on the speakers, it's fine. But if you want to get to somebody's heart for life, speak about something that they're going to think about and feel about for a long period of time. Give them something to connect to that's deeper than the surface. You understand what I'm saying? Because music is where we connect.
Yeah, that's true.
And it can make you feel like you're not alone suddenly. Achilles was a crazy, crazy experience, man. And he did the most by the end of last year, man. Like, it was so crazy. I mean, like, Achilles the song and Achilles the person correlated in so many ways, but I have to look back at it and be like, I'm so grateful because the music took me international. Like, literally, Achilles is the biggest. I've seen it on 5 million views just yesterday, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. Somebody in Australia decided she was gonna remix the song.
Wow.
She loved it and she sang it. It's got like 1 million views or 2 million views. Yeah, she did it, and you know, rocked it so good. And now she's making her own music. And you know, I'm super proud of her. Her name is Bina Butter. You go check her out. But just seeing just the cultural extent of how that went, had I not been honest about what I was experiencing at the time, it wouldn't have given me that explosion. It's still, Achilles is still the highest sold, highest viewed, the biggest, whatever you want to call it. It was the greatest song. Tichichema was obviously about abuse and the things that I had seen, and it's something that is still happening. It's something I needed to release for myself as an individual, as a person, because what good is the music if you can't sing about your truth? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm singing here, sitting about things that don't matter, you know, to me. And that's, I don't want to look back on my life and see a different version of what I was living, man. It's my story, it's my truth. And so one day when we look back, those are the most impactful things, you know what I'm saying, that I think fans are going to hold on to. So
now, what is the message to the girl child out there, or women out there who are facing such kind of abuses in their lives, who are facing such kind of, you know, difficulties, coming from a patriarchal society that is abusing women, abusing the girl child, and not recognizing her? What is the message?
You, as an individual, my dear girl, my dear woman, need to learn to love yourself harder. I think sometimes as women we're almost conditioned to keep quiet. You know, when somebody is rude to you, we don't want to fight. That's typically not what we want to do. We are built in a way where we like to avoid distress. We avoid violence. That's our biggest. And sometimes the extent, it's beyond the punch that you receive. It's the memory. It's the scar. It's the emotion, the psychological effect that happens to you thereafter. And no one else is going to take care of you better than yourself. No one else is going to do that. And I think it helped me so much just owning that. Because, you know, in the song My Protector, I speak about Nyatela, you are my protector, right? Because when we see our partners, we see the person that's protecting us from harm in the world. It's very perplexing to experience that person turning around on you, and then the next morning they're fine and they love you and they're sorry, and you know they're gonna go about or even worse. I remember somebody saying to me, he was just like, I don't even remember what happened last night.
Wow. No way.
This person had dragged me down the hallway, and I remember thinking to myself, is this my life? Like, what has happened here? Like, what is this? It is something we always see that seems so external and so far away. And there's so many levels. There's women who don't even understand what emotional abuse is, what mental abuse is, financial abuse is. So go and do the research, my baby girl, and go learn so that you can love yourself a little better. You matter more. You can't be there for anyone else if you can't be there for yourself.